Godfire is everything that is, everything that appears, everything that isn't, everything that will appear, everything that has disappeared. It is all Godfire. Reality is Godfire. It is a presence of the ever-burning, always burning reality that is God as fire, fire, divine love. Spirit is Godfire. In your book, Godfire, you wrote, "Who can judge time? Is now an end or a beginning?" I found that interesting sort of statement. Can you elaborate on that? Who can judge time? Is anything a beginning or an end? That has to do with the ability we have, or the need that the human has, to quantify events into time and duration and persistence, as opposed to the event that is always happening beyond perception, which is beingness itself. So whoever it is that quantifies time is time. Whoever it is that quantifies space is space. Well, quantifies life as space is space. Space quantifies and expresses itself just as time quantifies and expresses itself. And then from the viewpoint of Godfire, there is neither any alternate time or space, but now and here. Okay, why have you played so little in the last 40 years? I haven't played so little in the last 20 years, actually. I have been playing at another level. So, I mean, there's the hands when they play, and then there's the mind when it plays, or there's the spirit and the soul when it plays. So I have been playing continually for all this time, but not audibly, and not necessarily musically in all cases, because I've been teaching. So teaching is an expression of the heart of Godfire, which I am, and which all beings are, I may live more in accordance with. And so the music that I play from that place has taken different forms as well. It's taken word form, sound form, silence form, and then it has taken more conventional musical form. So only now am I putting more of this energy into musical form as opposed to before. So before I established the foundation, the principles, the realization of what I'm playing from as time goes by. So I have not been playing musical in a certain context of life as I may have to do now. And that is to play more before people and for people and relative to music, primarily. Is there a reason you choose to play more now? I think that there is no reason for playing more now, but opportunity has come up more now. And I think the logic that we have worked from here, that is Nancy and I and others, has been to establish the teachings first, teach other people first, sacrifice my own impulses and biologic urges and psychic urges to play, which were given to me at the first part of this life. I always wanted to play. I think I played enough during the early part of my childhood to burn off a lot of what I would have maybe needed to play during the period of the past 20 years, which was okay for me to stop playing physically and translate those impulses into creative thought. And so thus I have done that, and after a point, as we all agree, I would naturally, once it's completed, have opportunities given to me, because what I did I felt was according to a law that was revealed to me many, many years ago. And so having completed this agreement that I made with Spirit, let us say, to be straight about it, I made this commitment to Spirit to teach for so many years, and then to document my teachings in the form of books so that there's proof of what I taught, and there is something that can be carried forward relative to an understanding that has universal implications and dimensions to it. That is true not just for me, but I serve this ultimately higher impression of wisdom that has taken shape through me, and now it speaks for itself. It has its own life in the form of the teaching for other people. So now that that has been completed, now I get the icing on the cake, having done this work for Spirit, and that is to play music for humans. Having said, you said after playing music, you need silence to recover from communion with God. Yeah, this is a poetic way of a poetic phrase in regards to understanding where all things arise from is silence. The source of all things is silence. Transcendence is silence. And that is before and after anything that is perceivable is silence. Everything is reducible to silence, which is the ultimate presence too. And so after I play and I feel I've been used for a musical transmission, I have to return to my own source, which is silence, which is beyond whatever it is that I play when I'm done playing it or even when I'm playing it. And this is then an expression. All the music I have played in the past 20 years in the avant-garde form has been an expression of the silence. And not only an expression of the silence, but an accessing to the silence, so that people who hear it are taken beyond their minds in terms of what they know or assume to be musical form or ideas, and are brought to a silent place where they let go, trying to figure out something of that intensity or velocity or whatever it is, depth. They say, well, that's not their normal state, so they release themselves quite spontaneously. They say, I'm going to try and figure it out. It's not figure outable. And in so doing, they then access, in the presence of the music, their own silence, which is the ultimate and divine witness of all things that arise as consciousness or mind or self or thought. And so we are silence, ultimately, and we return to silence every night when we go to sleep. We cannot continue making sound and noise. We must surrender to silence every night. It's a law. So that's our true nature. Right? And when you die, what do you enter? Obviously, the ultimate silence, which is source, or transcendence. Or God, you can call it God too. You know, peace, God, yes. These are all good concepts.
What is the spirit that plays through you?
The transcendent, again, it's not who is what it is, just as what is what it is, who and what it is. It's transcendence. That is, it is not any self, it is not any particular thought, and it's not any mind. It's the source of that. It's the source of every concept that we can formulate or generate relative to what we think a mind, self, or thought are. So it is spirit itself that plays through this, just as it is spirit itself ultimately that plays through every being. And it is every being, but not every being is as conscious as I may have had to be of it as a process or as the truth or the reality which it is. So we are all spirit, but we don't live as spirit. We live more in terms of what we perceive ourselves or define ourselves to be relative to that, but not as it itself.
Is it one spirit or is it?
Oh, there's one spirit. Absolutely only one spirit. It's just like one air. It's one air. And everybody breathes it. Everybody partakes of it. It's one stream of air, life force. It's infinite. So of course there's one life force, sure. It's eternal, infinite, absolute. No question about it, not an argument. You know what I mean? Scientists could drive themselves crazy trying to figure out that which they always already are, you know, and are strangely enough, paradoxically trying to find out, you know, where they come from. They come from themselves. Everybody is self-originating.
Okay, to quote you, in the spirit of God, fire, death is a way of life.
Death is a way of life. That means simply silence is the truth of our being. Death, that means no noise. That means no concern, no worry. Death is peace. So in that sense, the death of self is peace. The death of thought is peace. The death of mind is peace. And what is left is just silence or peace, peacefulness, or love. You can then translate it into love, and love is the truth of life. But at what level is it at? See, as a human, then love is a totally different kind of perception or process. It's more or less attachment at an emotional level. That feels good, so it has these qualities and attributes. But that's qualified love. Unqualified love, or prior love is divine love, which is what we all come from and we seek to find in everything we do. Okay? But we are that, but are not conditioned to live as that. So we seek and seek and seek for love, which is always already here. But we, for some reason or other, assume that it is not here, and we seek outside of ourselves, which is one of our capabilities. See, we are capable of seeking, but we don't have to seek. It's unnecessary, because we are that already. As soon as we accept that and fall into that, everything is perfect. No matter what happens, it's all perfect. Higher law is all the same. We're just being here, dealing with whatever it is that comes. Same with this music. This music, all notes, all rhythms, all harmonies, is part of the perfection, although other people don't feel that that's their state yet. Well, that will be their state at some point, let us say, because that is the more total state. That's the more conscious, totality of itself, being what it is all in one. Not everyone can handle that concept, let alone move to the level where they're capable of that in any particular form, but some people are. And so you have symphonies, let's say like the Ivian kind of symphonic concept, where one orchestra is not enough, because hey, why not 2 or 3 orchestras playing differently together? And then you hear really what the human consciousness is about. It's like everything at once. And not too many people can appreciate the magnificence of that and the beauty of it, because everything at once is really overload for most people. See? So when we get to our own everything at onceness, then we're in touch with that level for ourselves in particular. Okay? So that's what I try to do with my music, which means I'm doing it through limitation of instrumentation, limitation of notes that I can play. But it's suggesting, since it comes from that place of total, it suggests the infinite, and so people who hear it can immediately relax and appreciate it for what it is, because it just restores you to your original nature, which is all and nothing. Silence. Oh, God, fire. Yes?
What we get here, okay, do rhymes come from the mind of humans, or are they not the very pulse of creation itself?
Yes. The mind of humans is it is a dimension of consciousness. The mind is a dimension of consciousness. It's a layer. That's all it is. It's a filter for what is, that you can also call mind, but then you'd have to capitalize it, because then it becomes an infinite mind. Go ahead.
Well, I was most impressed with the idea that when I read do rhymes come from the mind of humans, or are they not the very pulse of creation?
Yes.
I just thought when you were talking about how there's the idea of song, the fact that the song, does it come from minds of man, or is it just something that we are able to?
We are able to pick it up. Song are like the vibrations that all the animals hear and perceive. Birds do not originate song. They sing what they hear and feel. That is, it comes to them. Their response to life at their level is bird song. The same with the elephant. Sounds that we don't necessarily hear, but we have instruments now that can perceive them. And they're like infinitely lower than we're ordinarily capable of hearing, but we hear them now, see? And so what we're doing is letting nature hear itself through us, which is total, the full spectrum. That means that whatever we feel is ours is what we've gotten, but we don't look at it that way. See, we are it-ness, and that's the truth of reality. See, so whatever we receive, we can say that it is given to us out of necessity, just like the air we breathe, we don't originate it. So air and breathing is a good point. It is a good image for us to work from. The air we breathe is not our air. See? But yet we breathe it, so it can be said that we are breathing the air in our lungs, which are also given, right, ad infinitum through our ancestry. It's all borrowed. We're here on borrowed time, space, energy, and matter. We're visiting this planet. Actually, ultimately, absolutely, we are visitors. So we are this rather strange manifestation of a temporary reality. And so that's what's interesting about it. Until you get deep in consciousness, you realize that we are simply being itself, in form when we awake to it, and beyond form when we awake to that.
Now you talk a lot about spiritual sort of blocks, and do you believe you can help musicians that are spiritually blocked? You can help do that?
Absolutely.
Into the oneness?
Absolutely. Then it is God taking care of its own. You see, that's why higher states of consciousness, this is a concept. But there's also vibratory lawfulness about that. When a person stops eating, their vibrations intensify. So some have to be feeling hungry. It's a yearning. That is to say, they're more in an anxious state, but it's not actually a negative anxiety. It's almost ecstatic anxiety. See, so the vibrations are higher pitched, and once you eat, you come down from that. You relax that. You cool it off. You can experience it and express it relative to your own understanding. See, so we need fire in our system. See, fire is another vibration, and that's what is happening here. Through fire, purification occurs, and this purification is definitely, and it should be active in the artist as much as in any form of creativity in truth. You have people who think they're creating, but they're not part of the creative fire, so they are doing things that they see other people do, and they're not being used by the fire itself that they can create according to what is creative, but they are not being the creative fire itself, as I am on fire. And so I can create and originate things that nobody's ever heard of before or will be hard pressed to find somewhere else in the same form on earth. Now, I don't know if that's originality or whatever. I don't say I am that, but it is that. It is the ultimate original. And that's what we need to open to in order to access that for ourselves. Open to what is original spirit, original mind, original self, original thought, original heart, or original love. So this is part of the practice. So yes, people can be enlightened by the process of being enlightenment. Absolutely. In fact, that's the only way many people ever access it, and that is to see it. And the same that is true relative to whatever's on the screen, the big screen, or on CD or recorded. People hear levels of excellence that they aspire towards, so they can move out of their own limitation. And that's why excellence is important. But excellence then becomes concrete excellence and becomes a limitation. So we have to be careful that all forms are understood as mere forms of forms and not the truth itself.
Now you're a self-taught musician. Is there a difference between a musician and self-taught when it's classically trained?
Depends on what is heard and what needs to be expressed relative to what is heard. I may hear things that no classical musician has ever heard. Classically trained musician, because no classical school may have heard what I heard. Remember, I came first. I am spirit. So I came before all education, all knowledge, all thought, all self, all mind, and all forms have existed. So as spirit, I am free of all these things. And so, but that's unique to realization at the spirit level. Then it creates of itself and adapts itself to what it hears, or adapts itself to the times that it incarnates in. And so it can play along with and learn things and do things. But where does classical music come from if not spirit itself? Which means I'm already one with the classical mind, and maybe even prior to it, because I'm also the primitive mind, which the classical mind sometimes and in many ways tries to distinguish itself from. So there you have this classical trained status, and then you have the cosmic status, and sometimes they are aligned and sometimes they aren't. Now, when the classical mind is more and more complex, it starts to look more like the primitive mind, which is chaotic, so it appears. But again, that's a better viewpoint and not an issue relative to the truth of anything. So yes, you just heard me play things that I can tell you I've never played before, and they would sound classical, which means that I am at the place where classical music originates. And that would have to be the case because all of us are the source of every form of music. And for people who experiment with consciousness, they realize that themselves, that they hear things that could have come from before in this time, maybe in the future, because we're now talking about levels of consciousness where these things are part of the continuum of life. We're talking about a continuum. We do not know for certain because the Hubble, the Hubble telescope has not told us things that would distinguish whether Earth is first or last in a particular hierarchical manifestation of astrocosmic phenomena, life forms, or so on. Right? We don't know. We don't know if this is. We are the echo. We are the echo. The degeneration. We don't know if we are the hell of hells or the heaven of heavens. It's a matter of state of consciousness. We don't know if this is the beginning or the end, in fact, of anything. We are a work in progress. The jury's still out on us. Our own jury is still out on us. We are the jury that's still out on what is happening with the human race and the Earth planet right now. I think we're still learning very basic lessons of brutality on this planet. So when we speak about spirituality and divinity, we have to bring a lot on the table of what is happening out here that seems to be still a part of the Tyrannosaurus Rex aspect of human nature.
Now, just elaborate a bit on this last question. A musician who you taught, you self-taught.
Yeah, so but that means it was given to me. That's the difference between self-taught from the ego level and self-taught from the spiritual level. I say I'm spirit-taught. Rather than self-taught, I'm spirit-taught. So I hear things, I say, oh, I can do that. Oh, I move to do that. I say, oh, okay, I'll do this. Oh, I hear this. Alright, then you have a symphony based upon that, you know. And then you And then you go, such and such and such, and you got the choirs going on, you got this person with that, and this, bam. You know, so, yeah, right, and like, just like that. Just like that. So that's how it is in the case of this. See, it's already there. Like you know, like Mozart, already there. Mozart. Then that's like anything else. Some things are innate in some people. Dance is innate in all of us. But yet, you know, people have to go to school, learn how to stand and use their legs and put one leg here and do this and do that. It's already built in. Anything that they're doing in school is already there. You know, people say they found it. No, it found them, and then it manifested itself. So you got the form of art that we talk about, whether it's dance, visual arts, acoustic arts, all these different art forms, or creative arts in terms of ethnic art forms throughout the world. These are things that are part of the earth itself. Yes, part of the earth expressing itself through us. That's why I say it's already there. So much of what we say that we take credit for as personalities or egos is given to us. It's earthborn. So when people say, oh, well, what about the earth? They're polluting the earth. Like, only if the earth lets you pollute it. You know, the earth has been transformed and metamorphized many, many more times than the scientists have figured out yet. So they play it safe and say, oh, 5 billion years. Okay, that's a good guess, guys. That's good, man. That's playing it safe because you know you ain't got a clue. And as soon as the meteor or the comet hits this planet, okay, your show's over. And you still don't have a clue. What up with that? Right? Bam! Incinerated just like that. It's like the total, like, insult of insults right there. Right? Oh, yeah, so you guys are running the show and then boom, over.
Speaking of science, can you explain the science behind time mastery?
So time mastery is based upon the principle of oneness. When I started out as a seeker, let's say, I was like everybody else told that we were astrologic types. So I listened to that till I had an experience, and I was taken to a place in the universe out of the body where I reached what is called a nodal point. And this is my experience. They're all the planets like their colors, and they just like beamed out their colors and vibrations right into me. They intersected in me. So it was an experience of sorts. What that left me with was that I am time, which means everybody is time. Anything that I am is, everybody is. There's nothing exclusive about that. I am what everybody else is in spirit or in essence. And I realize that we are not just that one thing. We are the everything of that. So that astrology is a system like the alphabet that has to do with the cosmic event of time, which everyone is, which is the universe. So I say time mastery. So we are born into this universe to take on, you know, we pick a time, or time is picked for us. We agree to a time of birth. And we take the karma of that time, the conditions of that time, and we dramatize them. We live that pattern of time. That's not who we are, but what we use. So thus, when you take an objective viewpoint that you were born at a particular time with certain karma, what that means is that that's the karma you have to master. So I took the astrologic game and transformed it into time mastery rather than binding people to the assumption that that time is who you are and only that time. So I have acknowledged that we are partly that time, but we are all times. You got to start somewhere, so you start with A for astrology, but really A is the first step on the path of understanding the cosmic time that we are, which is now. And we're here to master the time that we were born into, most importantly. Otherwise, we just don't know what time we're doing anything. We said, man, you know, I did the same thing yesterday. It was a good time to do that. I'm trying the same thing today. I'm hitting it now, and it's not good. What happened? You're out of the time. Right? Right? It's like that. So mastering time is the most important thing. And the best way to do it is to understand what we are that is time. Okay,
In next video, you look at McCoy.
Tyner. McCoy Tyner Trio, yes.
Troy Sapiens thing.
Yes, yes.
Was that a musical breakthrough for you?
I would say it was because I personally didn't want to have to do that. But after I agreed to do it, I realized that that was something for me to step beyond. That is dealing with one of the most high-powered trios on the earth. When I came to realize that it was one of the most high-powered trios on earth, I said, yeah, I have to do this. I have to get beyond this fire, this ring of fire that's here, that is being offered to me so that I can demonstrate to others that, hey, it's no big deal. And I realized that since this was placed before me as a stepping stone, as a bridge, in order for me to be the leader I am already understanding I am, then this is something that I had to get through. And so I took that, and yeah, I broke through it because it was important for me to spend that time talking to McCoy Tyner and him talking to me about things that were important for him to pass on to me, plus his great blessings. You know, and he said, yeah, you got some stuff happening, but I was never going to know that unless I played with him and demonstrated to him that I could kick butt too. And big butt, as they say, you know, big, huge butt. Because when McCoy lays that on you, man, you got a huge butt to deal with there. You know, and you can either take being flattened out or you can take standing up from that. And I refuse to be flattened out by any karma like that because I'm here to transcend music and thus master it, that is, use it for my purposes as spirit given, rather than to be done in by any musician that's out here with his idea of what it should be or what it is. You know what I mean? So I had to do that to experience my own ultimate, absolute liberation from musicians because there are not too many guys who can play like that.
Okay. Reading some of your books, I came across something I thought at the time was very interesting.
Let's hear
And
it.
now, as I'm coming in, I'm sitting down with you, I know exactly what it is. What it is? It's the Prophet of Purple.
Oh, The Prophet of Purple. Yes, not a book that I finished yet. This is one of the many books that I started. Now I have to find it. And since I've been on it, well, I think everybody is a prophet of purple, but yeah, a prophet of purple music, and what I mean by that is a certain kind of ultraviolet kind of vibration of music, which is what the music is that I play. It's coming from that kind of hyper creative space where you play all you've got and then something else kicks in and then you'll play more than all you've got. Then it's playing all it's got through you plus what you've got. And when we hear some of this hyper energy music that I play, or high intensity spirit music, fire music, or God fire music as you might call it, then you understand it. It's not an assumption. It's actually a state of consciousness. Purple, the prophet of purple, like the prophet of God fire. Yeah, I'm here to talk about these things because I've never heard anybody else talk about them in that way, so it must be something I need to do. And as soon as somebody else talks about it better and satisfactorily, then I feel I can move on to something else. But as long as no one else is taking a stand for it, then I will do it. Okay? To say with concepts about, even McCoy told me this, he says, you know what's missing out here is a messiah. A jazz messiah. Not that I would have anything to do with that, but hell, if a jazz messiah is somebody that plays full out, everything that they need to play from the heart and the soul, yeah, I'll jump up there if nobody else is doing it to satisfaction. And if somebody else is doing it good, then he might or she might only reach so many people that it might be within my capacity to stand up there with my word and ideas and be that kind of healer for other people. Sure, I'll do it in a minute, because that's what we need out here. More musicians who are willing to be more than musicians. And that means priests originally. We're given this to heal people with, not just to make money at all costs, not just to be maniacal demons at all costs, not to lord over people like regular dictators do, caring less about where they wind up or where they go or how the music impacts them. No, but yeah, like a healer. We're supposed to be leaders in that sense. Priests, leaders, doctors. That's what a musician's supposed to be. But you got the secret power of medicine right here. That healing sound as a musician. But not just one level of music. So I've come in with a certain complex level of music that I have to deal with. And I work from that, but you hear me play these simple melodies too, because it all comes from that simplicity, multiplied, magnified, to a complex level, but it's all fundamentally simple, like everything in the universe. When you see the universe, whoa, but when you put the microscope on it, right, you see it's all basic stuff. The whole cosmic universe is created out of basic material, atoms, and so on.
How do you use music to heal?
You use music to heal, firstly, by knowing it's healing something in you, not just feeling good, see? I was born with a body that was racked with pain. So I have to be very careful with what I play. Just like you heard me playing that thing before. Earlier you said, well, I was feeling good. You're getting into the healing feeling. So you have to know what is healing. And sometimes that's a psychically known thing, or in many cases, like in classical music, which deals with a certain kind of scientific approach to what sounds right, consonant music, then that music sounds good, and it is structured in a way to give you the kind of peaceful resolve, not in all cases, but certainly in many cases. So you know what a good piece, it's called a good piece of music is, that sounds right and is done correctly. But that doesn't necessarily heal all people. That won't heal somebody else's broken bones, necessarily. See, because their condition of broken bonesness is a form of music too, and that music has to be given to them in order for them to be healed. They have to have their reality validated as well. So not everybody, like much of the classical music of the past 300 years, was basically designed for the royalty, which is almost like already healed, already perfect. Everything is already in place there. You know, like ornate clothing and stuff. It's not just clothing, man. It's all decorative stuff. And excessively decorative in some cases. Hyper ornate, right? And so here we're going right back to basics. It's just going right back to the folks, breaking everything down to what is bare and naked, healing reality. And that is contact, touch, pure, good feeling. And so that's where this music comes from that rawness. And I've had to transcend and understand my own pain that's built into me from the earliest days. And so I started from that, what is self-healing. See, I said, well, I can hear it. So, and then go to the major chord healing. It's not like I don't have to read it. I have to feel it.